Happy Halloween, everybody. I'm Casper Kuma, and welcome to Campfire Spooky Stories. I mean, I guess we're a day early, but it's fine. It's fine. I thought for today we could play this game. It's just basically a bunch of spooky stories all in one game. I think there's 30 of them. But I guess all these guys have their own tales. I don't know where they come from. I think some of them might be user submitted, but yeah, I don't know. I thought this could be cool. So what do we want to start with? Another mirror, the dolls, sister, father figure, windows, a red wristband. I lost my phone. The true horror. Hell. Darkness in the rear view. That one sounds interesting. Let's go with that one. I've always been uneasy driving alone at night. It was the worst the first few times when I had just gotten my license. But the nagging fear has never gone away to this day. It's disorienting to look into the mirrors and see nothing. And I mean nothing but the consuming blackness of the night. It makes me hesitant to check the mirrors. Should I see this dark void? Or worse, someone sitting in my back seat staring at me. In the summer of 2013, I found myself driving home alone on Highway 902 from a party. It was almost midnight. And needless to say, it was pitch black. As was usual at night, I was on edge. I had the radio off, and could hear nothing but the muffled roar of tires on pavement and the dull hum of the engine. I stole a glance into the middle rear-view mirror, and saw nothing but darkness through the back window. I know that I looked backwards and saw nothing. I'm sure of it. Just the seemingly endless blackness of the night. I remember it so clearly because not 10 seconds later, a car passed me on the left. Headlights on. I had one of those sudden adrenaline rushes. Like when you think you see a person outside your bedroom window when it's just a tree. 10 seconds earlier, nothing had been behind me. Suddenly, a car. I drove all the way home shivering and knowing something was off. The next morning, I found 2 sets of scratches near the back of my van. One was on the left rear, one was on the right. The car was pretty old. They could have been there for months, but that was the first time that I distinctly remembered seeing them. I first thought I had experienced something paranormal. I believe I saw a ghost car that had somehow appeared behind me within 10 seconds of me checking my mirror. But what truly happened is even more dreadful. The car had approached me from the rear and passed me to my left, but something tremendously large, and as black as the night had been clinging to the rear of my car, obscuring my view through the window, and leaving deep scratches on the sides. Oh. And I had inadvertently driven it home with me. Oh, that's awful. I mean, I also don't know how you can drive, like, alone at night and have the radio off. Like, I don't know, I would have something happening. Music, podcast, anything. I would not want to just be sitting there with my thoughts alone at night, driving. Especially if it's like pitch black darkness. You gotta have something going on. I don't care what it is. Oh. Alright, let's go for another one. What about the red wristband? When you are admitted to a hospital, they place on your wrist a white wristband with your name on it. But there are other different colored wristbands which symbolize other things. Is that true? I can't remember. Like, I've been in the hospital before, but I can't remember what color wristband they gave me. I thought it was just random. The red wristbands are placed on dead people. Well, I hope I didn't get a red one. There was one surgeon who worked on night shift in the school hospital. School hospital? He had just finished an operation and was on his way down to the basement. He entered the elevator and there was just one other person there. He casually chatted with the woman while the elevator descended. When the elevator door opened, another woman was about to enter when the doctor slammed the close button and punched the button to the highest floor. Surprised, the woman reprimanded the doctor for being rude and asked why he did not let the other woman in. The doctor said, "That was the woman I just operated on. She died while I was doing the operation. Didn't you see the red wristband she was wearing?" The woman smiled and raised her arm. Something like this. Oh, I mean, I think it just sounds like this is just a really bad hospital. Killing patients left and right. That's no good. Maybe you deserve this, but I'm impressed of how effective the elevator close button is on their elevators. I feel like they never actually do anything. They're just there to make you feel like you have power. What's another mirror? A short creepypasta. What's the difference between a creepypasta and a horror story? I don't know. The next time you're alone in your room, dim the lights, grab a ruler, and look in the mirror. Quickly grab a hair at random. Hold it in the position as best you can and note the length. Still looking in the mirror, look down. Yours will be different. Don't look back up. Huh? I don't know if I understand that one. Huh? Grab a ruler and look in the mirror. Quickly grab a hair at random. Hold it in the position as best you can and note the length. Still looking in the mirror. Then look down. Yours will be different. Don't look back up. I don't know if I understand that one. Let's try a different story. What about Angel? Or let's do Scarecrow. That's more Halloween-y, right? As Jake trudged through the cornfield, he recalled the argument he had that morning with his pa. But they've only been up a month. They don't need changing, he had yelled. Yes, they do, Jake. Everyone. And I want that first Scarecrow replaced by sundown. He shifted the heavy bag slung over his shoulder and cursed at himself for not thinking of something more clever to say. He clutched the stepladder in his other arm like a lance, and fantasized about different endings to the fight. I feel like I do that too sometimes, you know, when you get in like an argument with someone and then like later on you're just like, oh, I should have said this. This would have been a great way to shut them down. I do all the work, he thought to himself. And just once I'd like some say-so as to how and when things get done. Striding up to the stoic figure, he put the bag down and planted the ladder. Damn things last almost 2 months with proper care, he fumed as he stepped up. He pulled off the garish hood and was met with a chorus of buzzing horseflies. Oh. Jake had just enough time to see the boy's glazed eyes and the dried blood in his nostrils before the head slumped forward. Huh, he mused. Pa was right. Oh, where are you getting these people to use? Oh. Gross. Alright, what do you got? What's it's untold about the dead? What it's untold about the what? There, let's just read it. I don't want to sound mean, but the dead are pretty clueless. Well, that's pretty rude. I've always seen them. When I was younger, everyone thought I was just talking to imaginary friends. After a couple years, when I overheard my parents talk about calling a psychologist, I realized what I was talking to. See, ghosts don't tend to realize they're dead, and they don't look like they're like in the movies. They look just like us. I'm pretty smart for a 13-year-old, so I started noticing certain patterns to tell them apart from the living. They could be a bit distant from the living people, or you'd see them try to talk to people who shouldn't have even noticed them. Some of them could tell I was different, that I noticed them. Like this guy I saw after school yesterday. I'm a big boy now, see? I don't need my parents to pick me up. Home is just a short walk away. He was standing away from the other parents. Didn't talk to them, just stared at me. That's how I knew he was one of the ghosts. I went over, told him I knew what he was, and asked how I could help him. I don't remember much after that. I think because of what happened this morning. Downstairs, my parents are crying. I think I know where this is going. I tried talking to them, but they ignored me. They must have died last night somehow. Sometimes the new ghosts wouldn't talk to me. Some police officers and reporters just arrived. They won't talk to me either. Just like my parents. It's weird. I've never seen so many ghosts together before. It was for you. Oh no. When did it happen though? after a couple of years. Was it before the psychologist? Was the psychologist coming to talk to the parents? You know? Probably. I just want to know how long he's been dead, you know? That's unfortunate. Let's see. Let's do Yelm 3. Little Emily vanished last year. Now they're pouring new sidewalks in my neighborhood. And I found her name in the wet cement. Written in remembrance. It was written in reverse. And from below. Oh, she's under there. Oh no, they buried Emily. Either that or she's in hell. It could be both. Oh, poor Emily. Windows? There was a hunter in the woods who, after a long day hunting, was in the middle of an immense forest. It was getting dark, and having lost his bearings, he decided to head in one direction until he was clear of the increasingly oppressive foliage. After what seemed like hours, he came across a cabin in a small clearing. Realizing how dark it had grown, he decided to see if he could stay there for the night. He approached and found the door ajar. Nobody was inside. The hunter flopped down on a single bed, deciding to explain himself to the owner in the morning. As he looked around, he was surprised to see the walls adorned by many portraits, all painted in incredible detail. Without exception, they appeared to be staring down at him, their features twisted into looks of hatred, staring back. He grew increasingly uncomfortable, making a concentrated effort to ignore the many hateful faces. He turned to face the wall, and exhausted, he fell into a restless sleep. Face down in an unfamiliar bed, he turned blinking in unexpected sunlight. Looking up, he discovered that the cabin had no portraits. Oh, only windows. No! Oh no. I mean, I remember whenever I was at, like, my grandparents' house, like, they always had a bunch of, those, like, old looking painted portraits of, I don't know, just random people. I don't know who they were, but, like, I'd always, like, if I had to sleep over, I'd always just, like, kind of take them down and, like, shove them in the closet, because it's, like, they're creepy. They just feel like they're staring at you, you know? I don't want to look at that. I don't want that looking at me. Awful, awful paintings. How about sister? My sister always screams in the middle of the night. Horrible, blood-curdling screams, and I cannot get her to stop. I lie in my bed, away from the earth, dreaming in mist, and hear her screams penetrate my ears. She cries for me. She cries for someone. I cannot help her. Nothing I do will make her stop. I bring her some fresh lavender. One day. I hope the scent can calm her. My eyes shut and I drift away. But she screams. What can I do, sister? Why do you scream? What scares you? You will not tell me. I can't help. One night, when the screams are too much, I get up. I will stop her screams. I make my way to her bed and kneel down right on top of her. On top of her. Stop screaming. Stop screaming. I look down at her, but I cannot see her. It is dark, and there's distance between us. Stop screaming! She stops, but only because she knows someone is there. She's quiet. She doesn't want them to know she's there. My mother, telling me to go back to my bed. I need to stop coming to see my sister at night. But don't you hear the screams, Mother? But she doesn't. It is only me. My sister pretends to be asleep. I get up. I am dirty from the ground where I knelt over my sister's grave. She rests in her coffin, dead. But she still screams. What? It took so many turns. I thought we were, like, kind of scaring her in the middle of the night, but it sounds like she's dead, right? So who's hearing her scream? I'm pretty sure we killed her, though, or something, right? Right? Because Like, like, it sounds like we're being kind of tormented by it or something, because, like, we're the only one that can hear her screaming, and I'm just pretty sure that that person killed her, you know? Brought her some fresh lavender, huh? My sister-in-law is really into, like, all that witch stuff, and, like, I guess, yeah, lavender is supposed to be calming or something, or I don't know if it's supposed to help with nightmares or what, but she, like, tied a clump of whatever lavender above, like, their bed, but as it turns out, my brother apparently is allergic to lavender, so it wasn't very calming for him. Let's read another one. What about, did we do medic? I think, was that a different one? I think that was the red wristband with the doctor. Let's do medic. The winter of 1944, with overtaxed supply lines in the Ardennes, a German medic had completely run out of plasma, bandages, and antiseptic. During one particularly bad round of mortar fire, his encampment suddenly became a bloodbath. The survivors claimed to hear, above the screams and barked commands of their lieutenant, someone cackling with almost girlish glee. The medic made his rounds during the fire, in almost complete darkness as he had so many times before, but never this short on supplies. The bombardment moved to other ends of the line. Most men dropped off to sleep in the still dark hours of the morning, New Year's Day, 1945. The men awoke at first light with screams. They discovered that their bandages were not typical bandages at all, but hunks and strips of human flesh. Several men have been given fresh blood transfusions, with no blood supplies available. Each treated man was almost completely covered, head to toe, with the maroon stain of blood. The medic was found, sitting on an ammunition tin, staring off into space, when one man approached him, tapped him on the shoulder. His tunic fell off to reveal all skin, muscle, and sinew had been stripped from his torso and his body almost completely dried of blood. In one hand was a scalpel, and in the other, a blood transfusion vial. None of the men treated for wounds that night, in that camp, saw the end of January 1945. Ugh. 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 That's gross. He's just been, like, scooped out like a bread bowl. Ugh. Oh, that's nasty. What about thanks? Thanks for nothing. It's 3 AM and you've been up all night on the horror binge. You've watched your favorite horror movies, read your favorite scary stories, and even attempted the old Bloody Mary trick in your mirror. I will never do that. I will never do that. That's awful. I don't know. I don't think I know anyone who actually did it, but I would not have the courage. You stretch and yawn, deciding now is about the time to hit the hay. So you move into your bedroom and lay down to sleep. After a while, however, you realize that you can't get the images of some of the fictional creatures you saw on your TV out of your head. You see, that's my problem too. Like, I want to watch some, like, horror movies, but I just know I'm not going to be able to take it. Like, I want to watch the new one about the dog, Good Boy, I think, but I'm afraid. I'm gonna hate myself for this tomorrow, you say aloud as you flick on your bedroom lamp, knowing that having a nightlight used to help you getting rid of your nightmares as a little kid. Within minutes you're close to sleep, snuggled up comfortably under the blankets with your eyes closed and more pleasant thoughts on your mind. That is, until you detect something moving in front of the light, casting a shadow over you. You blink, beginning to turn towards the lamp before rotting ham grabs you on the shoulder. Thanks for turning on the light. I wouldn't have been able to find you in the darkness. No, don't say that. Don't say that. No, he can't taint turning on the lights like this. It's supposed to save you. Don't do this to me. That's not allowed. You can't do that. You can't make the light bad. What are you supposed to do then? Oh, it's stupendous. You jolt awake to some noise off in the distance. You look at your red-lettered clock, 3:21. You hear it noise again. Someone's knocking on your door. There's no reason to be afraid, you remind yourself. But you can't imagine any reason why someone would be up this late. You quietly walk over to the door. Hello? Knock. 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 Hello? Are you home? Knock. 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 Please be home. Hello? She mumbles something. I need your help. Knock. 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 You recognize your voice and look out the window. It's your neighbor. She's wearing her pajamas and some shining pendant around her neck. She sees you. Oh, she looks afraid at first. And then she puts on a worried smile. Can I use your phone? I need to come in. Why can't you use your phone? Mine is broke. She pauses. I think someone's inside my house. You pause for a moment to look at the fear on her face. When you open the door, it slowly dawns on you. Whoever it is isn't inside her house. He's behind her. And what's shining by her neck isn't a pendant. She's just being threatened? By a totally normal person? Right? Huh. Mine is broken. Why do they want to get in our house? Oh. I guess they're on the killing spree, right? We read a lot about windows. Let's do the angel. A few years ago, a married couple decided they needed a break. So they wanted to head out for a night on the town. They called their most trusted babysitter. When the babysitter arrived, the two children were already fast asleep in bed, so the babysitter just got to sit around and make sure everything was okay with the children. Later that night, the babysitter got bored and went to watch TV. But she couldn't watch it downstairs because they did not have cable downstairs. The parents didn't want children watching too much garbage. So, she called them and asked them if she could watch cable in their parents' room. Of course. The parents said it was okay. But the babysitter had one final request. She asked if she could cover up the angel statue outside the bedroom window with a blanket or a cloth, because it made her nervous. The phone line was silent for a moment, and the father who was talking to the babysitter at the time said, "Take the children and get out of the house. We'll call the police. We don't own an angel statue." The police found both of the children and the babysitter slumped in pools of their own blood. They died 3 minutes before the call. No! And no statue was found. No! Awful. Even the police were called. They could have made it. Maybe I'm glad that I never have to go to my grandparents' house again, because they also had angel statues around. Everywhere, covered in it, drowning in them. I think maybe that's where my fear of dolls and portraits and things comes from. Oh good, the dolls. Let's read about more dolls. As a child, I was always quiet, and my conversations with others would always end up awkward. I think this story's about me. Because of that, I always preferred to be alone growing up, which probably explains my strange obsession with toys. Being as old as I am. They never talk, they just stare. I have to say though, being alone in an apartment full of figurines can be creepy sometimes. However, being with my girl for almost 2 years, she understands my obsession well. But with this much, she would probably be shocked the first time when she first sees them. Wait. Have you not told her about it? Because I thought you said she understands your obsession. Also, how did you get a girlfriend? You don't sound like the most social butterfly. That night, she was more than excited to see my house. As we approached the door, she could barely contain her excitement. So without further delay, I swing the front door open. "Make yourself at home," I say to her. It's kind of messy, but it's more comfortable than it let. Her face was in shock. Then absolute terror, she started to scream. I tried to calm her, but it just got worse. I was puzzled. Is she afraid of my toys? I understand it's a bit strange, but is it that horrifying? I take a quick look in my house, but there's nothing horrific. I had to calm her down. As the neighbors were starting to come out. With a quick impulse, I quickly drag her in my house, and as I try to ease her mind, her screaming just got louder and louder. At this point, I had no choice but to put my hand over her mouth. She watched me in terror with tears rolling down her face. I turn around and they were all staring at me as well. I'm alone again. I placed her doll on the top shelf above all the others I have dated. Her looks made me feel depressed, so I made it face the wall until I was able to get over it. Ah, you're awful, awful person. Oh no. I'm surprised. I guess he suffocated her, right? But I'm surprised that he was able to kill her that fast. Maybe he had something else in his hand. I don't know. Ew. Let's do Snap. Every month a beautiful woman would drop her film off at the camera store to get it developed. He didn't know her name, but she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen and was also a wonderful photographer. It made his day when he got to develop her photos. The pictures were of her, sometimes at the beach in a bikini, sometimes at the picnic lunch, always smiling. I thought she was the photographer, so how is she getting pictures of herself? I'm assuming this is a disposable camera, right? If it's getting developed. Who's taking these pictures? A close-up photo of her face revealed her beautiful clear blue eyes that he would dream about at work when it was a quiet day. One time a naked photo even slipped through, a self-portrait she had taken in the bathroom. Why? That was before digital cameras and there was no way to delete photos off the roll. But of course, as he suspected, this one was put in just for him to see. I sincerely doubt it. He kept it. Ugh. One month a man started appearing in all of her pictures. This man was smiling too, and hugging her in many of the photos. Sometimes at the beach, sometimes at the picnic. He didn't like that. So we got rid of all the photos with the other man in them. After this, she didn't get her photos developed there anymore. This passed, however, and soon enough photos of her started to come through the shop again. The man she was with didn't appear in the photos anymore, and she doesn't smile much anymore. In fact, she appears to be crying in most of the photos. Most of the pictures are taken from outside a glass window, and only a close-up now of her beautiful eyes. And the only close-up now of her beautiful eyes is when they're closed and she's fast asleep. Ah, creepy, gross. Ew. I mean, I wonder how awkward it is for the people that have to develop the photos back in those days before the digital cameras, you know? Because, I mean, there's probably were some people taking, you know, risky photos. Like, did they just, like, kind of close their eyes? Let's do white. A man went to a hotel and walked up to the front desk to check in. The woman at the desk gave him his key and told him that on the way to his room, there was a door with no number that was locked and no one was allowed in there. Especially no one should look inside the room. That just sounds tempting, you know? Like, I bet no one would have batted an eye if he didn't say anything about it. But now it's like, oh, what's in that room? No one should look inside the room under any circumstances. So he followed the instructions of the woman at the front desk, going straight to his room and going to bed. The next night, his curiosity would not leave him alone about the room with no number on the door. He walked down the hall to the door and tried the handle. Sure enough, it was locked. He bent down and looked through the wide keyhole. Cold air passed through it, chilling his eye. What he saw was a hotel bedroom, like his, and in the corner was a woman whose skin was completely white. She was leaning her head against a wall, facing away from the door. He stared in confusion for a while. He almost knocked on the door. Out of curiosity, He almost knocked on the door out of curiosity, but decided not to. Crept away from the door and walked back to his room. The next day, he returned to the door and looked through the wide keyhole. This time, all he saw was redness. You couldn't make anything out besides a distinct red color, unmoving. Perhaps the inhabitants of the room knew he was spying the night before, and had blocked the keyhole with something red. At this point, he decided to consult the woman at the front desk for more information. She sighed and said, "Did you look through the keyhole?" The man told her that he had, and she said, "Well, I might as well tell you the story. A long time ago, a man murdered his wife in that room, and her ghost haunts it. But these people were not ordinary. They were white all over, except for their eyes, which were red." Yeah, you should probably block off the keyhole if you know it's a problem. And in fact, just put a fake label on the door. Just like throw a thing that says like custodian on it, and no one will care. No, you just like, you shouldn't have brought it to anybody's attention, because now it's just like, ooh, what's in the forbidden room? Now we all gotta look. You gotta reverse psychology, you know? Or something. Or just make it seem boring. Let's do father figure. My father's footsteps ringing distant from the hall was my lullaby when I was younger. In the dead of night, when my back was turned to the door, I would hear the familiar padding of his white and gray socks colliding with the hardwood floor outside my bedroom. Is it just a dad thing to like have incredibly heavy footsteps? Like, they stomp around like elephants, you know? The door would open, and a thin cascade of golden light streaming from where he'd come would land across my bed. The sound of his steps would become softer now, muffled by the plush white carpeting settled along the ground. And upon my forehead, his hand would gently push my bangs away. I don't know about where this is going. And his lips would press tenderly to my skin at times. I would turn my head to face him. My sleepy gaze would meet his, and in the darkness, his pearl teeth would shine in a warm smile, and I would smile in return. I couldn't understand why, at 14 years old, his nightly visits ceased. Upon asking my mother about this, she turned to me, gaze softened and lips parted just enough to emit tender words. "Well," she stated softly, "as you get older, you see ghosts less and less." I don't know how to feel about this one. Was it just a kiss on the head? Like a good night kiss, or was he doing stuff? You know? Well, let's move on to a different one. Lucky? I'm feeling lucky. If you're lucky, you'll never know about it. Your life will be spent in bliss that can only come from the ignorance of dark horrors that scratch and gnaw at the edges of reality. You'll never hear the dark whispers coming from the closet. Never feel the cold chill creeping along your spine. You'll never pause at a turn in the hallway because you know that if you look down it, you'll see something that shouldn't be there. Something that creeps, that stalks, and skulks in the shadows. Something that, once it sees you, will never stop coming for you. It won't come for you when you are sleeping. It wants you to know it's there. It wants you to hear the relentless sound of its footsteps, the panting of its breath. It wants to smell your fear, to hear you whimper, and to see the horror on your face as it approaches. If you've any sense at all, you won't try to find it. You'll never pay attention to the sounds. You won't try to catch sight of those things that flit by the corner of your eye. Your ignorance will be your shield and your protection. Do not be overly curious. Discount the sounds as the quirks of an old house, or the heating system, or any other excuse you can think of. Whatever you do, don't believe. Because once you believe, they'll become real. Once you inquire into their existence, they will solidify. And once you finally uncover them for what they are, they'll come for you. Okay, I'll just never question anything again. Like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I see things in the corner of my eye, but you know what? I'll just not think about it. Because I don't want them coming for me. That sounds unideal, so we're just gonna ignore everything from now on. Let's live in blissful ignorance, okay? Let's do instant messaging. It all started on the 14th night of March, the night of my parents' 20th wedding anniversary. It was a wonderful sunny day, if memory serves. Surprisingly warm for before the beginning of spring. The beautiful weather was perfect for the atmosphere of the day. Being married for 20 years is obviously a momentous occasion. So my parents had booked a table at our favorite Italian restaurant. It was 5:33, and I was just straightening my tie when my phone went off. I'd received a message. I checked the message. It was from my mom. It was quite a jumble of numbers and letters, but through the vocabulary stew I could make out a legible phrase. Please help me. It should go without saying that it worried me greatly. So I immediately replied, "Are you okay?" Just as instantly, I got another text which read, "Oops." Pocket text. I sighed with all the relief I had and continued to prepare myself. A few minutes later, I don't like this, I received yet another message. This time from my dad. I checked the text, and once again it was a massive mixture of letters and numbers, with the phrase, "Please help me," concealed within. Oh, come on, dude. Creepy though it was, my dad was always a joker, so I presumed he was just joking around, until I was sent another text saying, "Oops." Pocket text. Now this sparked panic. Pure, unmistakable panic. Exactly half a minute passed when I received the same two messages from my sister. This could not be coincidental. It just couldn't. In a state of sheer anxiety, I started to run to the restaurant. Don't go there, don't go there. I made it about a quarter of the way before I was stopped by a police officer. "Main road's closed," he said. "Huge car crash." This was the exact moment I realized just what had happened. I demanded to see the wreckage. A request which I was surprised was allowed. When I got there, it wasn't the remnants of the car that caught my eye, nor the flames billowing from the destroyed vehicle. No. I was horrified to see the lifeless corpses of my mother, father, and sister. I asked for the estimated time of their deaths. All three of them were killed instantly by the collision. 5:32. A minute before the very first text. Ugh. I mean, I don't think we could have helped them. I don't know if there's really any way we could have helped them. It was instant. But also, if you get like a "please help me" text, I don't know about the "oops" pocket text. That's a lot of typing for oops. Oops, like, you know, that's not like a simple text-to-speech error, you know? Like, you know how you say something to Siri and she says something totally wrong? Like, I feel like "please help me" is pretty specific. I don't know. I think I would have felt pretty suspicious with the oops. You should probably have followed that up with some extra questions, like, "Are you sure you're okay?" You know? I don't know. Let's do... hell. There was no pearly gate. Only reason I knew I was in the cave was because I had just passed the entrance. The rock wall rose behind me with no ceiling in sight. I knew this was it. This was what religion talked about. What man feared. I had just entered the gate to hell. I felt the presence of the cave as if it was living, breathing creature. The stench of rotten flesh overwhelmed me. Then there was the voice. It came from inside and all around. "Welcome." "Who are you?" I asked, trying to keep my composure. "You know," the thing answered. I did know. "You are the devil." I stuttered, quickly losing my composure. Why me? I've lived as good as I could. Silence took over the space as my words died out. It seemed like an hour went by before the response came. "What did you expect?" The voice was penetrating but patient. "I don't know. I never believed in any of this," I uttered. Is that why I'm here? Silence. I continued. They say the greatest trick you ever pulled was convincing the world you don't exist. No. The greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world that there is an alternative. There is no God? I shivered. The cave trembled with the words, I am God. I mean, how do you know you're not just in hell? There could be an alternative, right? Maybe you're just a bad person, and you just don't know yet. I mean, if you were bad enough to be sent to hell, then I don't think you would really think you are bad. I don't know, you know? I feel like most bad people are just like, oh, everything I do is for a reason. This is totally justified. You know what I mean? So maybe there's still an alternative. Hopefully. Maybe. I don't want to go to hell. Doesn't sound very nice. A little too warm. I like colder weather. Let's do another mirror. Did I do that one? The next time you are alone in your room, dim the lights. Oh no, I did this one. Yeah, I did that one. Did I do 403? I can't remember. It was 403 in the I should have done this probably in like chronological order. It was 4:03 in the morning and I woke up screaming. It was my dream. In my dream, I watched. No, I think I did that one. Yeah, I did that one. Okay. Did I do them all? Did I do so I lost my phone? Last night, a friend rushed me out of the house to catch the opening act at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table where we were sitting at, the bar, the bathrooms, and after no luck, I used my friend's phone to call mine. After 2 rings, someone answered, gave out a low raspy giggle, then hung up. They didn't answer again. I eventually gave it up as a lost cause and headed home. I found my phone lying on my nightstand, right where I left it. Well, I mean, at least the ghost gave it back, right? Right? But you left it at home? But wasn't it in your pocket? What do you mean it was where you left it? That doesn't make any sense. Lies. Lies. Oops. What did I click? Oh, I think it was instant messaging. Did I do a bad idea? Every time you exhale, a little bit of your soul escapes. Luckily, you almost always inhale it back before anyone else gets to it. Almost. Ever fogged up a mirror with your breath? Don't do that. What about when you do CPR? Does that mean you're just putting your soul in someone else's body? So don't do any CPR, or else you're letting someone suck up all your soul. I think I did all these, right? Did I get them all? Did I do He Stood Against My Window? Don't know why I looked up, but when I did, I saw him there. He stood against my window. His forehead rested against a glass, and his eyes were still and light was and his eyes were still and light, and he smiled a lipstick red, cartoonish grin. He just stood there in the window. My wife was upstairs sleeping. My son was in his crib, and I couldn't move. I froze and watched him looking past me through the glass. Oh, please no. His smile never moved, but he put a hand up and slid it down the glass, watching me. With matted hair and yellow skin and face through a window. I couldn't do anything. I just stayed there, frozen. felt still in the bushes. Huh? I was pruning, looking into my home. He stood against my window. Did he trade places with you? Just right then? How did you... Pruning? When did he swap with you? Because I think he's been inside the whole time and we've been outside the whole time, right? How did you do that? Did he turn us into a plant? Crazy. Crazy. Did I get them all? Did I get noises? She was holding his hand tightly when he heard a noise coming off in the shadows. Beyond the ring cast from the solitary light above, he could see only darkness. She must have sensed his sudden distress as he placed her hand against his chest. Again the noise. It sounded closer this time. They weren't alone in this park. Her heart was racing now to match his. He didn't speak as to hear better and gave her a look. Her eyes were wide open now. She must have heard it too. The noise came again. Something was moving in the bushes. The glint of eyes caught the light for just a second. He turned to meet her stare. She must have seen it too. The noise of rustling leaves and movement came again as it came into the light. The cat stopped and studied them for a second before it re-entered the darkness. He sighed with relief and tightened his grip on her throat as he slid the knife from her chest. Her grip slackened and he smiled as he watched the life extinguish from her eyes. Oh my god. Well, that was a turn. Poor kitty couldn't save her. Just got a psychopath serial killer there. I think we got him. Did we get them all? I don't think I did hands. The doctor pulled the stethoscope ear tips out and hung the device around his neck. Mr. Witherby, all of your tests have come back negative and my examination shows nothing abnormal. Adam knew what was coming next. I'm not crazy, doctor. I'm sorry, but there's no physical reason for why you occasionally lose control of your hands. A psychologist can help. I don't need therapy. I need answers. They seem to have a life of their own. I can't hold a job. I'm under investigation for assault. I almost killed my neighbor. This can't go on. I'll try anything at this point. After 2 weeks on the new medication, Adam saw no progress and grew increasingly depressed. He was convinced that despite what the doctor said, it was not a psychological problem. That night, a frustrated and angry Adam sat in a chair and drank bourbon. Drunk and hopeless, he stumbled to the garage and started the table saw, then slowly lowered his wrists towards the screaming blade. Detective Armstrong entered the garage where several uniformed officers stood over the blood-soaked body. So what do we got? He asked, taking in the blood-splattered scene. This is a weird one, Detective. How so? Take a look at the body. He apparently chopped off his hands when, with the table saw and bled to death. Armstrong knelt down. And? And we can't find his hands anywhere. They're just out there now. Maybe working as a butler for the Addams family. Well, only one of them is. Where's the other one? It's still out there. It's gonna get us. Oh no. Did we get them all now? I do think we got them all. I think so. Right. Yeah, we just read that one. Did I? Wait, I don't think I did white. Maybe this is the last one. A man went... Oh no, I did that one too. Never mind, never mind. I think we got them all. This was cool though. Alright, alright. Well, I think we should get out of here now. So that's all for this one. I feel like those were like a good bunch of weird short stories. Like, I don't know. They were like, it was like, have you ever been to like a tapas restaurant? You know, it's like where you like order a bunch of like different appetizers and everybody shares them. It was like that, but with stories. I liked it. I think they should put more in here because that was cool. It'd be neat if they like like rotated the story, so you like we're always getting some new ones, because I like the atmosphere of it, you know, just sitting around a campfire. It would be cool if they had some weird things going on in the background though, because you're in like a big open forest. It'd be neat if there's like occasionally something like out in the woods watching you or something like that, you know? Since like, I mean, I was thinking I could have just like read some stories off of like, you know, like a creepypasta website, but I wasn't sure how to get permission to like read those, you know, like, cause I don't know, I was looking it up and it did say that you needed to get permission from the authors, but I was like, I don't know how to do this. I was like, well, let me try to see if there's any games about spooky stories, and I found this one. I was like, oh, this works. So yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool if they got more stories in here though. I think that would be neat. But that's all for this one, so I hope you have a very happy Halloween, and I will see you in the next one. This is Casper Kuma, over and out.